Hello and welcome to the Sherlock Reel. Today we have a big amount of people, or load amount of people there with us there today, more than usual. I actually get to vote this time. So today we're actually jumping into the world of 80s comedies. We've done it. The first show we did went back a couple months ago with 80s action films. We're diving back into the 80s for this one. Joining us is the regular at this stage. It's good guy Ted.
Good guy Ted here, lads. Never vote anything out. I'll always leave somebody else to do it. Follow us on Retrotainment and Retrotainment Recast on the Dynamo Podcast Network as usual. And I'm interested to see these 80s comedies. A big fan of the 80s comedies, I am.
Perfect. Joining also is another regular. It's Greg.
What's happening, man? Greg here from obviously Retrotainment Recast with the two lads, and now off on the slab horror show as well. Kept busy.
Perfect.
Can't beat the 80s for comedy, lads.
Great. And then returning again from the last show, we have Matt.
Hi, part of the Burning Truth and, of course, UK Way, which is a wrestling company, but the Burning Truth is a broadcast where we talk all things wrestling.
And then joining us for the first time, we have Niall.
How are we, men? Niall from the For Podman Wrestling Podcast, from the Upper Tier Podcast for football, Transfer Show, Shankly Sessions for Liverpool, Beat the Bookie on the start today. Nearly every podcast on the network, practically, I have some sort of involvement in it.
Collector's Corner.
Collector's Corner.
You're a busy man. You're a busy man.
The good, the bad, the ugly.
Yeah, get the list out there, Niall. Read it off like Jericho. 104 podcasts.
That's it, yeah. Headlock. 19.
So Niall, as you're the newcomer to the show, you get to have cast the first vote, and the first vote is going to be it's Coming to America versus Pretty in Pink.
That's fairly straightforward. You get me the easy. It has to be Coming to America.
We started off easy enough. It's number 1 against number 32.
Yeah, it has to be Coming to America.
As much as I love Pretty in Pink, and I think Ducky is one of the most seminal characters in comedy, it has to be Coming to America. It's even though I think the second one takes away from the first one because the second one's that bad.
Jesus, no, it's so bad.
Coming to America is still a classic, and I have to vote for that as well. What about yourself, Ted?
Yeah, no, I think this one's a pretty easy one, isn't it? There's a reason that one is number 1 and one's number 32 or whatever. Coming to America was an absolute classic back in the day. Unfortunately, they decided they did need to make a second one, which I think is just a money grab, but sure.
Perfect. So that's 3 for Coming to America, so it is going through, so we can just blast through it there. Greg and Matt, do you agree?
I'm going to McDowell's, lads. I'm going to McDowell's.
A big 5-0 for Coming to America, which is a shame because I do like Pretty in Pink.
It's just not as good. Like, it's a decent movie, but it's just nowhere near that level.
Yeah, it's very true. Very, very true. Next up, Matt, we'll go with yourself. We'll go with Beverly Hills Cop against Airplane.
No.
That can go either way because Airplane is absolutely iconic, but so is Beverly Hills Cop as well. I'm going to go with the one I've seen more. I've seen it more times, which is oddly Airplane.
Okay, that's 1 for Airplane. Greg, what about you?
Surely you can't be serious. No,
Get the fuck out of here.
Beverly Hills Cop for
You're
me.
hysterical.
Eddie Murphy in this was probably at the height of his powers, really. The mix between action and comedy in this was brilliant. Don't get me wrong, Airplane is fucking hilarious. But I always found myself drawn. I'd more sit down quicker to watch Beverly Hills Cop than I would Airplane.
Perfect. Okay, so that's 1-1. Good guy, Ted.
Yeah, no, I have to go with Greg here. They are both 2 classics. This is probably I was surprised to see such 2 big hitters coming up against each other so early, but Beverly
They're all
Hills
big
Cop, I
hitters in
think it's
this.
just well, like Pretty in Pink was an easy enough one to knock out. You know what I mean? But this one is a little bit tougher. But Beverly Hill Cop is the preferred one for me anyway.
Perfect. That's 2-1.
The theme song was perfect as well.
Well, that is very true. Looking through lists and all that type of stuff, that's how I get the aggregate of all these scores and where to rank them on the lists. Airplane is usually ranked higher than Beverly Hills Cop on the lists. But for myself, I prefer Beverly Hills Cop. I think that the comedy is great in it. The chemistry between all the characters are great. So, and spoof comedy isn't my favorite type of comedy, which is what Airplane is. So I have to vote for Beverly Hills Cop as well. Would you have gone the same way? No.
Yeah, Beverly Hills Cop, definitely. Absolutely. Nice to have a bit of comedy mixed in there with an underlining serious storyline as well, so it's pretty cool.
Exactly. We just won't talk about the sequels.
And then to go. I don't mind some of the sequels. Three is pretty funny. But Eddie Murphy's facial reactions and his laugh in Beverly Hills Cop is just quality.
That's very true. Very true. Greg, we'll start off with yourself on this one. We have Porky's against the Blues Brothers.
It's an easy one for me. The Blues Brothers for me. I wasn't a great fan of Porky's. I do love the Blues Brothers though.
Okay. Ted?
Yeah, I think Blues Brothers is like definitely the more iconic of these two films, I would think. And if I was sitting down watching one of them, I'd be going Blues Brothers over Porky's. They're both good in their own way, but I think Blues Brothers is more well known as well. And to
be honest, I think if we had some Americans on the show, it would be going the other way, and they'd be voting Porky's, because I think it's more of an American thing. It took America a lot more than it did over here. But I'm going to vote Blues Brothers as well myself. It's one of the SNL films as well. It just keeps going. It's a great film. Niall and Matt, would you have gone the same way?
Yeah, pretty much Blues Brothers. I know Porky's. It is still funny. I thought it was, but Blues Brothers. It's a classic iconic. And bearing in mind, you've even got the actor, the actor who played Freddy Krueger, even in it. Would you believe?
Robert
Robert
Englund.
Englund.
I haven't seen it in a while, so I'd have to watch it again and look out for him.
It's the infamous scene where the guy's going, calling all the cars. He's the guy on the police radio.
Oh, really?
Oh.
All right, that might definitely have to look that
You'll
up.
have to go back and watch it now, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Ted, this film has been in it so many times, and in many of these lists before, so I hope it goes true, because I do really like the film. It's The Princess Bride up against Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Princess Bride has been in like 5 or 6 of these lists so far.
Yeah, and I always do give it a vote. I have a bit of a soft spot for Princess Bride. I don't know, is it maybe just because Andre's in it? I don't know. Maybe that's what sways me to this film more than a lot of
it's
other
hilarious.
ones. No, it is very funny, but like I don't know that it should sway me as much as it does, and I think Andre being in it is actually a huge part of me being swayed towards that film. But yeah, my vote will go to the Princess Bride. But I think a lot of this is Andre. I've started to realize.
That could be it. It could be it, but I don't know. I have a huge attachment to that film myself. So I am voting Princess Bride. I laughed the whole way through it, and I probably quote it every day. Inconceivable. It's just constantly that would be my vernacular every day. So like that's one of the films that I really do enjoy. What about yourself, Niall?
Yeah, well, I'd have to go with Princess Bride, wouldn't I? Absolutely. Andre the Giant and stuff like that, so absolutely, yeah.
Perfect. So it could be another 5-0. Is it, Matt and Greg?
Yeah.
This time, anyway.
Pretty easy one. Easy one so far on this. Perfect. Next up, I'll start it off. And it is Stripes versus the Goonies.
Oh dear.
Not an easy choice. What in any aspect? See, I've looked at this list before we've gone on, so I've kind of made my mind up already, and it's going to be the Goonies for me. It might be might be a controversial pick, but I love the Goonies and I love the Truffle Shuffle, so that's my reasoning. What about yourself, Niall?
Yeah, I'm going with the Goonies. I love everything about the Goonies. It's really cool. I mean, Stripes is a brilliant movie as well, but Goonies is absolutely classic stuff. Really good.
And what about yourself, Matt?
Stripes, I will say, is a really iconic comedy film, but the one that you always hear everyone talking about is the Goonies, more so than Stripes. From my own knowledge, from my own surroundings. If I mention Stripes to certain people who I know, not everyone knows it. Oddly enough, if I mention Goonies, first thing I get back is, "Hey, you guys."
Very true. Very true.
Genius.
So
Goonies.
that's 3 for Goonies. It is going through. Greg and Ted, do you agree the same way?
Yeah. I feel bad for
5-0.
Stripes because Stripes is quite good, but I think the Goonies could be like a serious contender to win this whole thing. To be honest.
True.
What a
And believe it or
cast
not,
as well.
not,
Oh, great cast.
rated 25 on this list. The Goonies.
No.
From all going through the aggregates, going through many lists to find it. Goonies is rated 25 on this. Stripes was rated 5.
Who's rating these lists?
Americans. I'm
Americans.
telling you now, it's American.
It is. Yeah,
American
it is.
people.
Although
like
Bill Murray is hilarious.
he is. Like
And
I
to
go
be
through.
fair,
I go
Stripes.
through a load of lists.
If I'm not mistaken, even Stripes, the cast of Stripes ended up probably going to lead into another film that is on this list, probably.
More than likely. But Niall, I'm going to give you probably the hardest one here so far.
Oh, good for you, Niall.
We have
Welcome
trading
Welcome to the show, Niall.
We have trading places against Caddyshack.
Oh no.
How did you match these up?
And I've said this before. It's not an easy show now. The lads know it all too well. It's not an easy show to be on.
This is such a conundrum for me because I used to play a lot of golf and stuff like that, so I love Caddyshack. But I also love Trading Places because Trading Places reminds me of kind of when I was growing up. It was always on at Christmas time and stuff like that. So it was brilliant movie stuff. Oh, how do I pick this? I'm gonna go with Trading Places. Big call, but I'm gonna go with Trading Places. Damn you, Carl Sherlock.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It really is a tough one. Matt, what do you think yourself?
It's really weird because it's both of them are absolutely brilliant, and I would say they would be very high on my list. Both of them would be.
If we're taking the aggregate score, Caddyshack is rated 9th, while Trading Places is 21st, which is why they're drawn against each other.
Whoa.
Yeah. There's a lot of lists that didn't even have Trading Places on
I
it.
was about to say that's weird. It's just, but I will say it's got a lot of great comedy actors in Caddyshack, and a lot of lines on it that is brilliant. It was both of them are off the wall, and I'm just trying to think. I'm gonna have to go with Caddyshack.
Matt, before you pick, think of Jamie Lee Curtis dancing at the fireplace. That should put Trading Places straight away.
Oh, you may have swayed some votes there.
We could do that if you do 90s action when she's in True Lies.
She was
know
so
what?
hot in Trading Places.
No, it's not just that. Actually, as much as you know what,
Admit it, he did that for you.
We got you.
No. To be honest with you, it's stuck between the actual final message as well. I just think the whole situation with Caddyshack is the gopher, whereas the situation of Trading Places, the concept. You know what? Nah, I'm changing it.
Yes.
Trading Places.
Yes.
Don't be trying to bullshit us there, man. You're changing that for Jamie Lee Curtis. Don't lie.
Give it a thumbs
No,
up
to be honest,
Jamie Lee Curtis.
it was literally on a hairpin. It was literally between literally.
That's that's the amount of clothes Jamie Lee Curtis was wearing.
Yeah, pretty much. Greg, I can see you're sitting back there now thinking Jamie Lee Curtis, that's not that fireplace.
No, I'm thinking more of her dancing in True Lies.
Oh, good lord!
Greg,
you mean the one where
do
she
you agree
slept?
the same way?
No, the fight back is on here. Here comes Bill Murray on the back nine at Augusta,
One for Caddyshack.
swinging
Okay.
them sunflowers.
Who's
Ted,
gonna
you know you're the same here.
Shame on
Ted.
you, Greg.
Ted, are you living up to your name, or are you voting the right way?
No,
It's Bill fucking Murray, Ted.
I do love Bill Murray, and I actually do love Caddyshack. But Trading Places will always hold a special place for me because I studied accounting in college, and they were like, "Oh, we want to," I think the lecturer was in bits, to be honest, but they were kind of like, "Does anyone know something we could do for this thing?" And I was like, "We could just watch Trading Places," and that was agreed upon. Like, so up on the projector, we put on Trading Places, and that's what I did for 2 hours in college. So Trading Places
Excellent.
holds a very high
Awesome.
stack for me, just
That's
for
the kind
that
of college I
alone.
want to go to.
Yeah.
Forever. So Trading Places, and that's where I would have been voting as well myself. I love that film, and Eddie Murphy's performance is great.
Yeah.
So Matt, take that. It's Police Academy against 16 Candles.
Police Academy.
Police Academy. These two are rated. Before we go on, Police Academy is rated 13th, and 16 Candles was 17th on the list.
Or closer than I
For
thought
me,
it would
straight-
be, to be honest.
Straight Police Academy for me.
Police Academy,
automatic.
one vote. Greg, what about yourself?
2. Police Academy.
Fair enough. Greg? Or sorry, Ted?
Police Academy, yeah.
Yeah, I think this has just gone around. It's a fight. Do we need to discuss it? It's all for Police Academy here, yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough, yep.
I feel like a lot of the people who are voting these and like the lists that you got seemed to, like, I think a lot of these people had a very similar, sort of style that they like in
Taste.
films, because a lot of them seem to be kind of like these teenage sort of romance ones seem to be getting placed
True.
higher than I expect them to in a lot of cases.
Yeah, quite possibly. Quite possibly. See, a lot of them are American. They're from American lists. So
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
there's Twilight.
Yeah.
God no.
Twilight's
Carl's
the greatest
favourite.
movie ever, lads.
Carl Sherlock and Carl Kingwo's favorite. The two of them love Twilight. Mad for
Oh
it.
yeah. Oh yeah. Greg, we'll start this one off with yourself. This is number 29, Good Morning Vietnam, up against number 4, Roxanne. Number 4,
That's actually quite an easy
Roxanne,
one.
which I was quite
an
shocked
easy
about.
one for me. Good Morning Vietnam was quite easily a winner here for me.
Yeah.
Robin Williams in this movie was just phenomenal. The whole movie is just phenomenal. And then obviously his iconic radio introduction is used in everything.
True. Very true.
So
You don't want to blow the mics out, so I won't do it.
No,
What about yourself,
I don't want
Ted?
to wake everyone up.
Yeah, I'm similar to Greg. I'm not willing to do the intro to that show because I'll wake the family up. But yeah, when you said there was a disparaging figure in where these were ranked, I was going to be like, oh yeah, well, Good Morning Vietnam is somewhere near the top, and Roxanne must be somewhere near the bottom, and it's the opposite way. And I can't believe that. Like, Good Morning Vietnam is brilliant. Now, I honestly don't expect it to get hugely far in this because as funny as it is, There's
It's
a
more his
very much
performance. Yeah.
No.
yeah, he's very
Yeah.
funny, but the actual film is quite a serious tone to it rather than that. So I'm glad that it got through the first round because I was afraid it was going to come up against some big hitter and I was going to have to vote for it because I couldn't see it go out with nothing. But I'm glad that it seems to be on its way through here.
Yeah, I think it's quite early. Just
It's a
easy.
very similar
Robin Williams'
performance.
performance is brilliant.
Mm.
Sorry,
It's
Greg,
a
what were you
very
saying?
kind of similar performance to his Patch Adams, where it was a serious movie, but he just stole the show with his comedy and whatnot.
Charisma.
Yeah,
Perfect. So is it Niall and Matt? Is it going 5-0 as well?
It's got to be, because for me, I even tweak it a little bit. I've even tweaked it a little bit. It's a workplace and even borrowed it on a morning shift before. Tweaked it a little bit. Did the
Yeah.
proper good, man.
Perfect. As a
Knew
Good
someone
Morning
had to
Vietnam
try
going
it.
through to the next one. Next up, and we will get Ted to start voting on this one. We have Spaceballs rated number 3 up against number 30, Three Amigos.
Oh, okay.
When you started that, I thought this was going to be a lot harder because you kind of like stalled before you said Three Amigos, and I was like, "Oh crap, what's it after coming up against here?" No, yeah, I think this one's an easy enough one for Spaceballs here, isn't it?
Yeah, for me, I'm voting Spaceballs. Just it's as I said, I'm not a huge fan of spoof movies. But this is one that kind of just stands above the rest. I think Mel Brooks was directing; it was excellent. So I'm gonna have to go with Spaceballs here. Yeah, do you agree there? No.
Yeah, Spaceballs for me, absolutely.
Perfect. That's 3. Matt and Greg. Is it
I'm just
is
not
it
even,
going
yeah,
5?
just make it 5.
Going
You
5.
use the
5,
swords.
Perfect. Next up, we have rated number 18, and this was put in by Ted and Greg earlier on, asking to be put in. So it replaced film. So number 18 in Naked Gun up against, and now you can start this one off, up against number 14, Monty Python's The Meaning of Life.
Has to be Monty Python, isn't it? It has to be Monty Python.
It's not as clean, not as clear cut. I mean, Naked Gun is great, but Monty Python is fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely Monty Python.
What about yourself, Matt?
Big fan of the Naked Gun series, but it's Monty Python. It's Monty Python.
I'm sure that's going to be one of the favorites for yourself and Enemy Matt to get quite close to the end of this. And what about yourself, Greg?
No, it's Naked Gun for me.
Naked Gun, okay. It's
I didn't
2-1.
lobby hard enough to get it in here to get it go out in the first round. Don't care what it came up against.
Lads, just so if you just wanted to know, no, Matt, they kicked Crocodile Dundee out of this for Naked Gun. Would you have agreed?
Yes, 100.
No.
I argued the point that
Really?
Crocodile Dundee, the first one isn't really a comedy.
But there's comedic moments in it which are pretty good, in fairness.
There is, but
There's
I
not
think
many of them compared to the second one.
I mean, is there anything that's not a comedic moment in Naked Gun either, though? Like to see Naked Gun not on the list when like the whole thing is just
no,
one
it's
big
weird,
comedy.
yeah, because it should be on the list, but Crocodile. It depends on what else is on the list as well.
Yeah, well, it
compared
probably
to
could
Roxanne
have
made it
something
on the
else.
list.
Yeah, to be fair, I didn't really care what it took off. I was just I felt it should be on for something at least. Like it's a pure comedy film. Like there's nothing in it that's anything but comedy, and I was like, how does that not make it in? I'm gonna go with Greg and give my vote to Naked Gun, but I don't expect it to get through. I do think Monty Python will beat it. I prefer Life of Brian over The Meaning of Life, but
Myself too.
I'm I can't deny that The Meaning of Life is a cracking film either.
Yeah.
You're just going for good guy Ted here, aren't you? So you're not voting the film out. You're
No,
going
well,
back to your own moniker. Huh?
I lobbied for Naked Gun to be in. I couldn't do that to it.
Sticking with his buddy from his podcast in case he gets recasted off the show.
I'm the current champion. I won't be getting recast anywhere. I'm the current champ.
Nice.
For now. So next up. Sorry, we're still on that one there. Sorry, lads. It's Meaning of Life gone through.
Yeah, no, to be honest, I'm not surprised. When you said that it came up against that, I was like, it's gone. Like, this is it gone, really.
Can we
It's just
recast
the way it fell
Carl
out.
with either Niall or Matt?
Perfect. Matt, we'll start off with yourself here. We have rated number 10, Beetlejuice, up against number 22, Big.
Oh,
Yeah.
22.
22. I was very shocked myself. This would be up there for me. It'd be one of my favorites now.
this is right up there for me.
Yeah.
It is. It's right.
But Beetlejuice is Beetlejuice.
Both of these are actually.
That's what I mean.
Don't say it again. Don't say it again. Don't say it again.
I'm not saying it again. You can relax. It's the fact that you got people who are waiting for a sequel, even making, even trying to make mock trailers for it now as well, aren't they?
Oh yeah.
You never know.
It's gonna. I think it's going to happen.
It needs to happen, but
It doesn't need to happen. Believe you me, it does not need to happen.
Yeah, I think they'd make a mess of it if they tried to make a new one.
No. Back then, I mean.
Back then, yeah,
When-
but now, no.
Back then. Now, no. No, not now.
It'll still happen, I reckon. I still think they'll.
I reckon
they'll
it
do
will happen, but I
It's
think
going to
it'll be
happen.
bad.
Big is, I kind of, you just got to look at the fact of the infamous, piano, dancing piano scene.
You just fucked it all for us up, Brian.
I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with Big.
One vote for Big. Perfect. Okay. What about yourself, Greg? I can see you struggling there.
It's a struggle, all right. Tom Hanks.
It's either
in
way
Big
from
was short. Tom Hanks in Big was phenomenal, but Michael Keaton stole the show in Beetlejuice. Alec Baldwin, brilliant. Winona Ryder was brilliant. I can't think of the guy who plays the paranormal guy. I can't think of his name. In Beetlejuice was brilliant. I'm gonna go with Beetlejuice.
Okay. You've definitely said it more than 3 times there as well, by the way.
I know, but Brian just fucked it up for us all. I'm just trying to get him back.
Perfect. Ted, what about yourself?
Yeah, I can't believe these, like 22, 21.
10 and 22. Yeah.
22 for Big. I can't believe Big was that far down.
How?
As much as I do like Big, I do think that the better one is Beetlejuice. I think 10 is probably a fair spot for Beetlejuice. I don't
Brian
think it would go much higher than that. But I think it is the better of the two here, unfortunately. And it was one of the few that was like a horror comedy. Especially back then, that wasn't really done. I know since then we kind of got the likes of Shaun of the Dead and stuff, but at that time it was a very niche market to try something like that.
Perfect. That's 2 for Beetlejuice. It's Niall. It's going to be going down to you to decide because I'm going for Big. I love that film. I watch it at least twice a year. It's one of my favorite films of all time, not just in 80s comedies. So Big is getting my vote there. So it's all up to yourself.
Welcome back to the show, Niall.
I'm going with Beetlejuice. I have to go with Beetlejuice on this one. It's absolutely
Beetlejuice.
for me. Beetlejuice
Okay.
is iconic.
Yeah.
I
It's
can't say I'm not a little bit disappointed, but sure, has to be done. Has to be done.
Unfortunately,
I'd say if Big came up against anything else really that's come before it,
Yeah.
it could have had a greater chance to go through. Unfortunately, that's the way the draw goes.
It is indeed. And Greg, we'll go with yourself. Two of the longest names, I will say, in this. We have number 26, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, up against number 16, See No Evil, Hear No Evil.
Oh no.
Uh-huh.
I love planes, trains. I love planes, trains, and automobiles. But I've been watching See No Evil, Hear No Evil since I was about 4 years of age. It's my dad's favorite movie, and I've watched it 4 times since it came onto Netflix about 4 months ago. It's just funny every time you watch it.
That's right. Gene Wilder versus John Candy. Which way are we going?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Gene Wilder.
Okay, that's one for See No Evil. What about yourself, Ted?
Surely, and the scene where she's in the towel. Just putting that out there.
Yeah, it wasn't
Drop
good
the
enough you had
towel.
trading places, was it? Now you're
She
coming over
she
to
didn't
the
get
dark
held
side
up.
of the force all of a sudden.
She get held up with a boner.
What about yourself, Ted?
Or maybe she did.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is. There's just something about that in the type of comedy it was. I don't know. It always was just a favorite of mine. I'm gonna go with that, but like I won't be surprised to see No Evil, Hear No Evil go past it. To be honest, either.
Yeah,
I could see this going either way again.
For me, I have to vote Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. The biggest factor has, in my opinion, the best use of the word "fuck" in any film. After he goes on that big rant in the car dealership, and she just replies, "Best use of the word fuck I've ever heard in the film." And if we're talking about sexy scenes, that scene when he wakes up with his hand in between two pillows, you can't beat that either. My vote is definitely Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. What about yourself there now?
I love the scene as well where he digs the fingers into the dash. Remember, he's stuck into the dash of the car or something like that. So good. But now it's Gene Wilder versus John Candy. For me, it's
Don't forget Richard Pryor's in there as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
Richard Pryor and Steve Martin.
I had a feeling it was going to land on me.
See no evil, hear no evil for me, but both excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, it is down to yourself, Matt. Which way are you going?
I saw that one. I've got to go, and I know probably going to get some flack for it off a few people who I know, but I'm going to have to go with Trains, Planes, and Automobiles. Simply just on the, I want my car. My car hire. Just that scene is just... Both deserve to go through, genuinely.
Yeah, they both could have gone through.
To mess around.
It's very true. The mess around sequence, of course. That is a really tough one. Really tough one. Sorry to throw that one on you, and it's not getting easier here, lads.
Never does.
It's really not. Ted, we can start off with yourself
Wait
here.
till the next round.
Exactly. We have number 7, and it's an upcoming show on Retrotainment Recast. We have The Breakfast Club up against number 27, Uncle Buck.
Oh, this one's relatively
back
easy for
again.
me. The Breakfast Club. Yeah, the Breakfast Club for me is one of the standout 80s comedies. And just the whole concept of it, like they're basically locked in school and all that. It's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, honestly, I'm gonna vote Breakfast Club. If you saw my posting on Facebook there yesterday, first time I ever watched Breakfast Club was last night.
Couldn't believe that.
It was just a gap in my film knowledge that I hadn't seen before, and that's great. It's really, really good. I really loved it, and I love John Candy's performance in this film in Uncle Buck. So it's not an easy decision for me, but I'm voting Breakfast Club. But if I hadn't seen it yesterday, I would have been voting Uncle Buck for this.
I'm glad you've seen it then.
Still wouldn't have went through.
It wouldn't have. What about yourself, Niall?
Breakfast Club for me, definitely.
Yeah.
Love John Candy and Uncle Buck, but definitely Breakfast Club.
Perfect. And yourself, Matt?
I'm just going to be a nice guy and just give Uncle Buck a vote at least once so it doesn't go out with 0 votes, because for me, Uncle Buck is a very memorable film to me as well. But Breakfast Club is iconic. If it wasn't the fact of it going up against, I would have just voted for Breakfast Club automatically. But I don't want Uncle Buck to go out on 0 votes because it's really memorable to me. And bear in mind, I believe it's got Macaulay Culkin in it as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, young Macaulay Culkin's in it.
Does, yeah.
He's asking too many questions.
Yeah, then he gets left at home.
And Greg, you're the same way?
He gets left at home.
Yeah.
You get the ball by the horns in this one.
You're going the same way there with the
Breakfast
Breakfast
Club
Club,
for me.
Greg, yourself? Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Great. Now we'll go with yourself here. Hang on. Something's just popped up on my laptop. That's very bad timing.
We told you about those websites, Carl.
I know, I really have to be careful. Incognito. Niall, yourself, we have National Lampoon's Vacation up against Weird Science.
Oh, no.
Vacation is number 11, Weird Science is number 15.
Oh, the whole Weird Science thing, that's majestic, isn't it, really, when you think about it?
Mm-hmm.
That's the best description of it ever.
Yeah, I have to go with National Lampoon's Vacation. Absolutely brilliant. And Chevy Chase in this is just electric.
That's probably his best role, isn't it?
Yeah, he's just unbelievable. Yeah, that's definitely National Lampoon's Vacation. Without a shadow of a doubt.
Perfect. And Matt, yourself?
Weird Science, great film, great comedy, but National Lampoon's Vacation. You know, at the start of it, you see him all, all smiles and everything, and then you just see him descend into madness.
It might have been different if I put Christmas Vacation on this to see which one would be Chevy Chase's best one, but well, maybe Chevy Chase.
European Vacation as well.
Greg, no.
I do. I like it.
I'm going to go with National Lampoon's straight away.
Perfect. Vote for Vacation. And what about yourself, Greg?
Yeah, same. I never found it was never going to beat this. Weird Science wasn't.
Perfect. Is it a 5-0, Ted? Is it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, like as Niall said, Weird Science has its moments and it has its place in 80s comedy, but sometimes you just come up against a big hitter like National Lampoon's and you may as well just pack your bags and go home. It's like being put in there with
Very true.
into the Royal Rumble with Andre. You know you're not winning, so just enjoy yourself out and be done with it.
Nunzio and Goldberg kind of way.
Oh, rest in peace, Nunzio.
Next up, we have
out for one's homies.
Yeah,
two absolute huge hitters here going up against each other, and they're both kind of sci-fi comedies. If we're going to go down that way, and Greg will go with yourself. It's number 19, Back to the Future, up against 23, Ghostbusters.
Jesus. Who drew these Royal Rumble balls?
Wait, what numbers were they?
Carl, you did
19 for Back to the Future, 23 for Ghostbusters.
Jesus. So these are some ratings.
I know, right? These are just an aggregate score. Now, some of these, is how they came onto it.
Can I abstain?
Nope.
Can we spin that drum again or something?
Yeah.
I think he's abstaining. I'm abstaining on this one because that is really, really tough.
Yeah.
Fuck me. Right. Well, on a previous episode of Retro Table, we've actually covered Back to the Future, and I say it's probably one of the best time travel movies, if not the single best time travel movie. The comedy in it is brilliant. The story is near perfect. In terms of it covers everything. Any loose end was tied up. Ghostbusters was amazing with the lads and with Rick Moranis and Sigourney Weaver as well. The story,
it's like you were on another set called Stripes, maybe.
Maybe just slightly. But one of them was far more successful than the other.
Oh, definitely.
This is Carol's version of the Montreal screw job.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm enjoying seeing you all squirm right now.
Right, I'm gonna rip the band-aid off. I'm going Back to the Future here.
Back to the Future, one vote. Okay. What about yourself, Ted?
I'm going to level it up just because it's the easiest option here and it saves me from having to be an asshole and kick one of them out and give Ghostbusters one. I'll also give out a shout out to Ghostbusters. The lads on the Slab just released an episode on that earlier today at 10 o'clock, so check that out. But this is a seriously tough one because my main argument against these, if they came up against something else, was going to be how much of comedies are they in comparison to some of the other films. But I would say in terms of actual comedy, they're both pretty much equal as well. So I couldn't even use that to differentiate them. So I'll just go with the easy option and say Ghostbusters and leave it to you three to duke it out from there. Yeah.
The way I'm going with this is I love both films and probably equally. The way I'm going about it, and it may not be fair, but I don't really care. It's my show, and I'm going to do it. The sequels of Back to the Future is better than the sequels of Ghostbusters. So, and for that reason alone, I'm going with Back to the Future. What about yourself there, Niall?
That's a terrible reason.
It's the one I'm given.
Just keep in mind now,
level
it's 2-1. You can just make it level and just save yourself.
I'm going with Ghostbusters on this one, simply because it's the one I tend to view more throughout the year. That's
fair.
Reason.
It's really hard to decide between them. Let's be honest.
I saw this one coming.
Yeah. To yourself.
The good thing about it, because I saw it coming, I planned for it. But both of them absolutely iconic and great scenes, back and forth, time travel, like I said, great story. And the whole sequence, using the sequels, both of them.
Carl knows that wasn't actually the real reason.
Yeah, it's not that. It's just you just got to take into account the classic lines. They both got them, and they're both memorable. But we know that one of them's already wrapped up, but yet one of them's still continuing on at the moment because you've got the Ghostbusters Afterlife coming soon.
True. Well, should have been out already, but sure.
I know,
you do.
But if I'm going to go with one, and I've been sitting here racking my brain, I'm gonna have to go with who you gonna call Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters, right?
I'll be honest, I wouldn't have cared which one of them went through. I'd have happily just flipped a coin. If that had come down to me, I'd have taken a coin out, flipped it, and gone heads or tails. That one goes through. Done.
No, it's more or less what made me. I just sat back and just thought to myself. At the same time, how many people are in it as well, just making guest appearances as well, just random people in the background.
It's true. There's a young Elijah Wood in it, isn't there?
I think Cheech from Cheech and Chong is in there as well.
Yeah. Right. Ted, we have ranked number 31.
Oh, good, easy.
Against rank number 2.
Not based on these rankings, Ted.
Yeah.
Don't believe him.
It could be anything.
It's Who Framed Roger Rabbit at 32 or 31, up against
What?
Ferris Bueller's Day Off at 2.
Scandalous.
Oh,
Scandalous.
how is
Absolutely
Who Framed
scandalous.
Roger Rabbit that far down? Like, honestly, that is unbelievable.
It wasn't. Honestly, it was barely on any list that I looked up.
It must just not be a big thing in the States. It just
Yeah.
must not be a big thing over there.
I believe
It's on.
it might
It's on
be
every year.
name.
Every year here on Stephen's Day. Every year on Stephen's Day. It's a Stephen's Day
Yeah.
tradition.
And it's fucking wonderful.
It is brilliant, yeah. Oh,
Judge Doom versus Ed Rooney.
Ed Rooney. I have to go with which one I've watched more here, and I have watched Ferris Bueller's Day Off more. But I'm surprised Who Framed Roger Rabbit is so far down on the list. I'm genuinely shocked about that.
Yeah. I'm voting Ferris. You know, I love Ferris. As the lads know, that Ferris Bueller is my favorite film of all time. I love that film, and we actually just did that on Retrotainment Recast. The episode's coming out next Thursday, isn't it? Or is
Next
it Thursday
Thursday.
after?
Next Thursday, yeah.
Next Thursday we recast Ferris Bueller's Day Off. It was a fun episode. But yeah, no, I love that film. As much as I love Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and it's such iconic moments, Mickey Mouse and Bugs Bunny being on the screen together, the only time that's happened. So, I mean, it's great moments in the film. But Ferris Bueller gets it for me. What about yourself, Niall?
Ferris Bueller, definitely Ferris Bueller. I like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, but Ferris Bueller, definitely.
Perfect. What about yourself, Matt?
Can I turn heel? Nah, I'm not going to turn heel. Yeah. For me, Ferris Bueller, definitely for me. But with the Who Framed Roger Rabbit, if I'm not mistaken, they also had massive disputes over it as well, didn't they? Over the iconic characters. Because, if I'm not mistaken, they had to have the same amount of dialogue.
It was probably something like that, to be honest. I mean, they're that petty. It's just like the Rock and Vin Diesel in Fast and Furious. They had The Rock's contract was that he had to punch the same amount of things that Vin Diesel did.
Yeah, pretty much. But I'm going to go with
The Rock.
What a weird stipulation to put in your contract.
Very weird stipulation.
I'm going to have to go with Ferris Bueller. It's simply because your view changes as you get older with the film as well. You sympathise with different characters as you get older. And there's so many theories with this as well.
Perfect. So that's Ferris Bueller's going through. Greg, would you agree as well?
I don't think he will.
Well, I'm not letting Who Framed Roger Rabbit go out with 0 votes.
He's not doing dirty.
It's
that's understandable.
I love Who Framed Roger Rabbit. But Ferris Bueller is probably one of the picks to win this. I know it's ranked 2, but outright that ranking system is a load of shit. Some of the it's gone, but Ferris Bueller is definitely going to be up there to win it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'll give it a 4. It'll go 4-1 here.
4-1. So we move into round number 2 now, and we start off with yourself, Niall, and we have an all Eddie Murphy fight out with Coming to America versus Beverly Hills Cop.
Ouch.
Coming to America ranked number 1, Beverly Hills Cop ranked number 20.
Greg's definitely right about the ranking system anyway.
Yeah.
I'm going with Beverly Hills Cop. Primarily again because I've probably watched it more, and when the new Coming to America came out, I watched the old one, and although the original one, and although there was some fun stuff in it, I'm not convinced it's aged well, whereas Beverly Hills Cop I could still sit down and watch it because there is a storyline behind all the comedy as well.
The barbershop scene in Coming to America 1 is brilliant.
Yeah,
it's true. And the barbershop scene in the second one is probably the best scene that's in it, because it does take away from the first one.
We won't talk
it really
about
does.
the second one.
the first one, it's one of the, it's so
Oh, it's
bad that
definitely-
it takes away from how good the first one is, and it's unfortunate that it does. What about yourself, Matt?
Beverly Hills.
Beverly Hills, right? That's 2. Greg?
Axel Foley.
Wow, 3-0. It is gone through. Ted, are you going the same way, or are you going Coming to America?
No, yeah, same way. Beverly Hills Cop. As good as Coming to America was, we brought up the barbershop scene, and it's not even the most iconic barbershop scene I've ever seen. And the most iconic one I've ever seen is a man trying to run away from another man, and running through a window. What a coward Marty Jannetty is, but enough said about him. Beverly Hills Cop is the better too.
So it wasn't Bob Kelso running away from the barber and didn't want to pay for his haircut.
Oh, that is pretty good as well, but he doesn't run through a window like a coward.
I was going to vote Coming to America. It's not a pity vote. It's not a pity vote, but I was going to vote Coming to America. But it does go out 4-1, and it's a shame. It's a great film. But next up,
That's the number 1 seed gone.
that's the number 1 seed gone. It's also so number 1 and the number 4 seed are both gone.
Yeah, well, that number 4 seed was a lot of bollocks.
Yeah, I completely agree. Completely agree. Next up, we'll start.
There is a few. I'm surprised.
Didn't
There is a
make it in.
few on. Yeah.
Well,
The
that's
That's
rankings are all over the place. I didn't even notice, when I was writing what the actual films were. I was just getting an aggregate of all these lists, and yeah. So Matt, we'll start off with yourself. This is rank number 24 against ranking number 28. It's the Blues Brothers against the Princess Bride.
Blues Brothers for me.
Blues Brothers. Okay.
Blues Brothers, simply because it's ingrained into me. It's a film that me brother. I used to watch with my brother regularly, quite a lot. It's both one of our favorite 80s comedy film. It's one that's pretty much ingrained into us, and from time to time we even quoting the lines to each other just for fun, like the infamous, how would you like to eat corn on the cob with no fucking teeth?
I mean, he's not wrong.
Perfect. It's true. It's true. Princess Bride does have a lot of quotable moments as well. A lot of quotable moments.
But it's the one that as I was growing up, it is one that I got pretty much ingrained into me. It's almost like it's ingrained into me, my very essence, me very being.
Perfect. Okay, Greg, what about yourself? Which way are you going here?
I'm gonna say we're on a mission from God here. Brothers.
Blues Brothers with 2 votes. Are you going to stop the bleeding there, Ted, or is Blues Brothers going through?
Listen, Andre the Giant's not getting knocked out in the round of 16, lads. All right, like you're telling me, King of the Ring, Andre the Giant is getting booked to go out in round 2. Not a hope.
Perfect. Well, I'm going with you there. It's all tied up. Princess Bride gets my vote, so you get to decide which one goes through or no.
I'm going with the Blues Brothers. Andre, you should have never ripped that chain off Hogan's neck. Going with the Blues Brothers.
Bloody hot dog Hogan.
Less of that now. Less of that. Don't be talking about my dad like that.
I had to get Jay's little dig in at Hogan in all the time,
Yeah.
Perfect. So Blues Brothers got through to the next round. So next up we have who started that one? Matt did. So Greg, we have yourself here with the Goonies
Oh no.
against Trading Places.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring this down to one that I've watched more. And it's gonna be the Goonies.
Well, for the Goonies,
I'll watch this probably at least once a year. I can't actually remember the last places. No, I liked it, but I can't remember the last time I watched it.
Okay. What about yourself, Ted?
As much as I do enjoy Trading Places, I think Trading Places does have a rewatchability sort of contingent on it. Whereas I think the Goonies you could kind of put on repeat nearly, couldn't you? Really, it's not taxing. There's kind of less of a story, I suppose, in the Goonies. Whereas Trading Places kind of has that backstory of the rich versus the poor, and how a poor man would act if he was rich, and how a rich man would act if he was poor, sort of thing. So they're trying
Would
to
still
tell
happen
two
if
points.
they recast that for today. The story would still work.
Oh, it would still
Yeah.
work, yeah. But I think the fact is that that's kind of the main underlying story, is to highlight, how this would happen and this would happen. And although there's comedic effects from it, I think that's less of the point is on comedy, whereas the Goonies, I think, is just all out sort of comedy in a sort of way. And I think if I had to sit down and watch one, I would put the Goonies on over Trading Places more often than not. As much as I do love Trading Places from that
I'd say
college.
90 times out of 100 you would.
Like, I do love Trading Places because of that thing in college, but I don't know. I probably would have put the Goonies on if they'd have let me. So
That's fair. I'm the opposite though. I'm going Trading Places there. I'm laughing from the start of that film all the time, especially with Eddie Murphy's begging for change at the start. On the skateboard hiding his legs. Just from the start of that film, I'm laughing all the way through. So Trading Places is it for me. What about yourself, now?
This is such a tough one for me. I'm probably going to go with the Goonies because I watch it more often in the year. My son is a huge Goonies fan, so if I didn't vote Goonies, I'd be ignored for the rest of the weekend, I'd say. Although I do love Trading Places for
Isn't
me.
that a good thing?
Again, not necessarily. Trading Places for me is more a kind of movie that I might break out around the Christmas time and stuff like that. That's when I naturally used to watch it back in the day. But Goonies for me is something that I would put on more often. There's a kind of a feel-good factor about it. But I like your point, Carl, about the recasting. I can't imagine what it'd be like if you boys tried to recast the Goonies.
We're staying away from recasting teen movies or with films with teenagers and kids for a while. We've done it too often recently.
So Goonies for me.
Perfect. So Goonies is gone through. Matt, what way would you have gone?
Oh, I think for my own health and safety, I would have been shot on sight if I didn't pick Goonies.
Goonies gone through 4-1. 4-1.
But like everyone says, Trading Places is a good film. It's a good comedy, and it is one that I've watched and been laughing at all the way through. And unfortunately, not even the fireplace scene, the infamous fireplace dancing scene, even saves it.
I can't believe I picked Slot over that. If Jamie Lee Curtis watches this, please don't take any offense to that. It's not.
It's all platonic for Niall.
Damn those kids.
Great. Okay, so here we're gonna go with yourself, Niall. We have Police Academy versus Good Morning Vietnam.
Oh no!
Don't even have to think about a Police Academy.
Okay.
I'd watch Police Academy at least once a month.
I hope
Alrighty.
it's on Netflix.
Oh, it's crazy.
What about yourself, Matt?
Police Academy.
Police Academy. That's 2.
As much as the infamous scene of Good Morning Vietnam is it's like Ted said earlier. It's a very serious film. It's got comedy moments in it with him in the booth just pretty much shooting off the breeze. And believe me, he is an absolute genius. Some of the comedy he could just pull off like that, and on such a on a turn of a dime, on the turn of a coin or anything. But it's got more of a serious tone. It's less of Police Academy is Police Academy.
That's fair.
It's a
That's
full-on
fair.
comedy.
What about yourself, Greg?
How could it not be Police Academy? As much as I love Good Morning Vietnam, 80s comedy, Police Academy is going to be right up there and a serious contender. And Kim Cattrall in it is unreal.
True.
Perfect. And
Niall,
Ted?
you've corrupted me.
I barely hold a torch to Callahan, but I won't get into that.
What about your one under the desk?
No, I didn't fancy her at all now. She was a bit rough around the edges, wasn't she? He was the cheap alternative, I think.
That's why she was left under the desk.
That's what happens when you order Callahan off Wish.
Good Lord, imagine.
Yeah, no, the truth is that Police Academy should deserve to go through here.
No.
Police Academy does deserve to go through here. I'll always have a special place just for Good Morning Vietnam. I absolutely loved that film. But the truth is, it should be Police Academy. I'm going to give a vote to Good Morning Vietnam just so it doesn't go out with a big fat 0. But yeah, if it was a deciding vote, I think I'd have to go Police Academy because Good Morning Vietnam's not particularly a comedy. He's just particularly funny.
Yeah, that's my reasoning there as well. You know,
Yeah,
Police Academy, you know, everybody's funny in it. Good Morning Vietnam, it's all solely based on Robin Williams' performance. And it's an amazing performance, which is why it's made it onto this list and many other people's lists. But Police Academy has to go through.
Yeah.
It's all these sympathy votes is how we end up with these rankings. Put the boot in, Ted. Put the boot in.
I can't put the boot in.
Sympathy votes away.
No, I can't put the boot into Good Morning Vietnam. A lot of films I can, but not Good Morning Vietnam.
Like that Ferris Bueller film.
Hey now, you take that back.
I'll be that now.
Matt, we'll start off with yourself here. We have Spaceballs up against The Meaning of Life.
Oh, this one's pretty easy.
Not to Matt, it seems.
There's just a look over the 5 of us here going, yeah, we all know what the answer to this one is.
I'm just going to go Meaning of Life.
Yeah.
Meaning of Life?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Greg? No, yeah, it's Meaning of Life going through.
It's one of those.
You know, it's spoof comedy. Spoof comedy doesn't always hold up. Spaceballs is great for what it is, but it is a spoof, and that can only take you so far, really. You know,
when you're coming up against Monty Pythons, you're going to struggle.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's very true. We have a tough one here now, and Greg, you have to vote it first. It is a tough one.
Great.
Beetlejuice.
It can't be as tough as the last one I had.
It's Beetlejuice against Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Why did I It's still not as tough as the It's still not as tough as the Ghostbusters and Back to the Future one.
Yeah,
that's probably the toughest one.
That's definitely the toughest one that's come up so far. Yeah.
Michael Keaton versus John Candy. Oh. Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice. Okay, and
I can't even deliberate on it because I'll change my mind.
I think it's because of the kind of risk it took at the time in Beetlejuice being a horror comedy that tips it for me. I think that was a kind of a lot bigger of a risk back then than it would be now because we've seen it done and it's been done well. Whereas when Beetlejuice came out, I think they took a serious risk because that could have gone the complete other way and just got completely shit on. And instead it became a kind of cult classic as well as a kind of big hit as well. So yeah, that's the way I'd have to look at that one.
Perfect. That's 2 for Beetlejuice. I'm going with Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Not only is it absolutely hilarious, but John Candy's performance in it, as well as being hilarious, is very touching as well. You know, you feel real sympathy for him, especially towards the end. For a character at the start of the film that you don't really like, they flip it on you completely, and I love that film completely. And so I'm definitely voting Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. What about yourself now?
Another tough matchup, isn't it? Really, when you think about it, but
Yeah.
Similar to what Ted was saying, I have to go with Beetlejuice. Just the risk that it took and stuff like that at the time. I think with Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, you know, you could probably make it again somewhat. I think with Beetlejuice, I think it'd be very hard to remake it. So yeah, I'm going to go Beetlejuice.
That's fair. Perfect. And that is Beetlejuice gone true. What way would you have voted, Matt?
Trains, Planes, and Automobiles.
Oh,
This has gone true 3-2 in a tough one, in a close one. So we'll start this one off then with Ted, yourself. We have The Breakfast Club against National Lampoon's Vacation.
Oh, that's a tough one. I'm just going to go with personal preference here and go with The Breakfast Club. And that's literally it. Like, I can see an argument for both of these, so I can only go with just my personal preference of I'd rather watch Breakfast Club than National Lampoons, but I won't be surprised to see National Lampoons go through here either, to be honest.
Okay, yeah, myself, I'm going Breakfast Club. I can see from watching it yesterday, I can see why it is such a classic. I was, I enjoyed the film thoroughly, so I'm going Breakfast Club definitely. No, what about yourself?
I'm going with National Lampoons. I don't really have a reasoning for it except that probably I watch it more.
It's personal preference on this one, I think, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think I suppose National Lampoons just makes me laugh more, so I'm going with National Lampoons.
Yeah, that's fair. They're different types of comedies, really. And what about yourself, Matt?
Where's that coin? No, it's. I'm just here thinking to myself, which direction. I'm gonna say, let's make it currently standing 3-1.
3-1. Okay, Breakfast Club. I thought you were going to give the decision to Greg there. I'm sure you.
I'd have done.
No.
We know you would have done that, Ted. We definitely know you would have done that.
No. For me, it's one of them. It's as tough as it is because I am a big fan of the National Lampoons and everything, but it's Breakfast Club.
Perfect.
It's Breakfast Club.
Great. Okay, Breakfast Club gone true. Greg, would you have? Sorry, you voted there at the start. So, oh, you didn't.
No.
Sorry, apologies. Sorry.
before 4-1.
4-1. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Breakfast Club going through, and again, we're not just doing this to advertise an up and coming retrotainment recast episode. That's what happened in the wrestlers in movies.
That definitely did not happen in the wrestling.
Coincidentally, Predator won just when we were about to do a show on that.
You hadn't seen Predator.
I had seen Predator. I'm still a bit bitter. But we'll start off with Niall here. And we have Ghostbusters against Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh no!
Sorry, Carl.
Ghostbusters.
Oh.
Definitely Ghostbusters for me.
Who are you gonna call?
Oh, Matt, help me out, please.
As much as I would love to, it's Ghostbusters.
You are killing me, lads.
It's Ghostbusters. It's got to be
Killing
Ghostbusters.
Me. Go on. Put me out my misery, Greg.
Ferris Bueller, you're my hero. I'm gonna let this one run. Ferris is going all the way here.
Ferris. Perfect. So Ted, you get to decide then.
I get to decide, do I?
Ted,
Well, you know
don't be that guy.
where my vote is.
Right?
You know my vote is Ferris.
I know your vote. I get to decide, do I?
Ted, don't be that guy who wouldn't drop the belt in Canada. Don't be that guy.
Listen, I'm the Retrotainment Recast champion, and I'm not dropping that belt in Canada or anywhere bloody else either. So, Ghostbusters.
Oh,
Yes!
bastard.
Ring the bell,
To be
Aaron,
fair-
ring the bell.
To be fair, if it was 2-2 and it went to me, it would have been going to Ghostbusters. I just wanted Carl to be put in his misery for a little bit longer.
Bastards.
I actually
Oh,
fancied that to go a lot further than it did.
Yeah, it's just weird.
Yeah, it's just because it got Ghostbusters, and it would have come up against, Back to the Future if it hadn't. It would have been another tough draw anyway. It's not like it was getting an easy run.
That's true. Very true. Unfortunate, just the way the rankings
Carl
came
thought he
out.
was great getting.
I should have fixed it. I should have fixed it a little bit better, shouldn't I? If I really wanted it to go far.
Next week's Sherlock reel will feature 4 other individuals.
Sacked, banned.
You need to get Earl Hebner in.
Carl has left Retrotainment Recast as well.
A rerun of this episode with totally different outcomes.
Rumor has
Or
it Ferris
has-
Bueller
It's a
wins.
voiceover.
It'll be a shotgun episode. That's what it'll be.
The Microsoft Word thing. And who do you vote? Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Yeah, good. Thank you, lads.
Right, Matt. We go on to round 3. We're nearly there at the end. It's Beverly Hills Cop versus the Blues Brothers.
No.
I'm going to go Blues Brothers because, like I said earlier, it's literally ingrained into me.
1 for Blues Brothers. What about yourself, Greg?
I think I went in on the Blues Brothers in the last 2 rounds. Also backed Beverly Hills Cop in the last 2 rounds. But I'm going to go with Beverly Hills Cop this time. It's just
1-1.
more... yeah.
Ted?
Oh, this is a tough one again. I think in terms of scenes that are kind of like iconic and that people have replicated, I think Blues Brothers probably has more of that. But I think in terms of sit down, just pure comedy, I think Beverly Hill Cop has it, doesn't it? I just think that's a
Blues
funnier
Brothers.
sit
There's
down.
parts of Blues Brothers that are a bit boring at times.
I think Blues Brothers, when it's funny, is very funny. But yeah, there's certain parts where there's not comedy or kind of action or anything happening. It's kind of they're building the story along. Whereas Beverly Hills Cop, even though it's building a story the whole way, it's always either comedy.
You have Eddie
or
Murphy making
action.
jokes at that stage.
Exactly, yeah. So Beverly Hill Cop for me. But it is a tough one.
I could make Niall make the decision here and vote Blues Brothers, but I won't. I'm gonna play it safe. Play it safe, and I'm gonna vote Beverly Hills Cop myself, just in case. Just in case.
You'd sick if you had to pick Blues Brothers and Niall went Blues Brothers.
Exactly. I didn't want to do Ted's tactics and for it to backfire on me because it's happened before. Which way would you have gone there now?
I'm sticking with the banana and the tailpipe. It's Axel all the way.
Yeah.
Perfect. Beverly Hills Cop gone through to the next round.
Tailpipe.
Are you okay, Matt? I feel your pain. My villain went out too.
No, it's one of them. It's for me, as much as I'm sad to see it go. It's a good contender, so I'm not going to complain.
Yeah,
I'm not.
Fair.
Yeah.
It's a great contender. As soon as I saw
Roxanne.
Oh. It was one of them. As soon as I saw the matchup, I was like, I've got to vote for it, but I wouldn't be upset if it goes out at the same time.
That's fair.
I think they're all like that now.
Yeah, they're all pretty much like this. Although this one coming up is quite easy for me actually, and we'll start off with yourself, Greg. It's the Goonies versus Police Academy.
No.
And this is Niles.
What a
Niles does not like this one at all.
No. Right. It's 80s comedy, right? So The Goonies is a little bit more of a serious movie than Police Academy is. The Goonies is probably a better film than Police Academy is. But on the thing that it's 80s comedy, I'd have to give it to Police Academy.
Okay, that's one for Police Academy. What were yourself, Ted?
I'll play it safe and I'll go Goonies. Just play it safe here. No, I think they're both really rewatchable films as well. And although
100%.
Although Greg probably is right, there is probably a bit more of a serious tone to the Goonies. I think without that, I don't think the Goonies would be able to be as funny as it is without the kind of more serious tone. So I think it's needed to, it's a child's film, so it's kind of, well, not a child's film, but like it's about kind of
It's
teenagers.
about balance.
So
It's a family film.
It needs kind of everything in it. It can't just be, a dumb joke after dumb joke either. It needed something to it.
Well, I'm agreeing with you, Ted. I'm going with Goonies. I'm not. The Police Academy, I think, has gone far enough in this. I'm not a huge fan of that series. So I'm going Goonies. I'm going Goonies.
Look at the look of dejection on Matt's face there, because he realizes if Niall goes Police Academy, he has to figure it out again.
You can see it, can't you? But I've already made my choice. I have actually made my choice.
The pondering look into space.
Do you know which way you're going, Niall?
Yeah.
Do you know which way you're going now?
I know which way I'm leaning. But this is a very tough one because I love both of these. But I'm gonna go with. I think I'm gonna go with Police Academy because I think to this day I still laugh more about it than Goonies.
Okay.
So I just think it brings a bit more comedy to me, if you like. I love both movies, obviously, and obviously the Police Academy franchise went on and did a lot more sequels and stuff like that. Only one of them.
Many more.
The rest are pretty cool.
Perfect. Okay, so it is down to you, Matt. You get the deciding vote again.
Lucky you.
Like I said earlier, when you saw me suggesting off in space, I was planning, trying to narrow it down, and I just pretty much just put the coin in my head and just went Goonies.
Goonies going through to the next round into the
I've
semi-finals.
no real dejection with Police Academy going out. Like either of those could go through and win it.
Yeah.
So that kind of way. It's just, I think if you're looking at 80s comedy, it's Police Academy really.
It's for me, like Ted said, there's all that comedy, but at the same time with Goonies, it was brilliant for me when watching it because it didn't just have just all comedy; it also had a bit of seriousness to it. But it also, when the comedy time came in, it elevated the comedy more so.
Well,
for me,
you could look at it that way, yeah. So same as Beverly Hills Cop, the way they done it.
Yeah,
exactly. So the next one up, Ted, we have Monty Python and the Meaning of Life up against Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice had a nice old run, didn't he? But I mean, Monty Python, and as I said, I preferred Life of Brian personally, but it's going to take any of those Monty Pythons are going to take a hell of a lot to be beaten. And
yeah,
I praise Beetlejuice for taking the risk that it took, but I think this is as far as it's getting for me anyway. Monty Python.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with you. Gonna go with that as well. Meaning of Life. It's just hilarious. It really is. That's where I'm voting. What about yourself now?
Yeah, I think Meaning of Life. I think Beetlejuice has gone as far as it can go, really. Unfortunately.
Perfect. And Matt?
I'll be nice and give Beetlejuice a vote at least, so it doesn't go out. So it doesn't go out without a point, just in case. Plenty of iconic scenes, and then you got the infamous singing one. Day-o.
That's true. It was going to get sung eventually on this show. You got it in there. What about yourself, Greg? Would you have gone the same way, or which way would you have gone?
No, I would have been going Beetlejuice if I had started this, or if I had finished it.
Fair enough.
I prefer Beetlejuice over the Meaning of Life. Now, if it was the Life of Brian, I wouldn't have. But I prefer Life of Brian to the Meaning of Life. But I've been going Beetlejuice here.
Yeah.
Perfect. So into the last of the quarterfinals right now, and Niall, you'll start us off with The Breakfast Club against Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters.
Oh,
Don't even have to think about
it. Matt, what about yourself?
I've got to think about it because both of them are massively iconic. But it's for me, the fact that you also had loads of toys, and on top of that, with the fact that the Breakfast Club only produced just the Breakfast Club as in the film, that was it. Ghostbusters went on to making multiple films, cartoon series, multiple of them. Many toys and as such, and it was such a mainstream marketing. It's like even now, it's still marketable now, even right now. Even though I'm not saying that Breakfast Club isn't, but I'm gonna go with Ghostbusters simply because it was just for me. Breakfast Club was really iconic and great. And coming of age and everything as well at the same time. But Ghostbusters, who are you going to call?
Perfect. What about yourself, Greg?
I'd have to say Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters.
I do love the Breakfast Club, but it's got to be Ghostbusters, really.
Perfect. And Ted, do you agree the same way?
Yeah, I have a lot of love for The Breakfast Club, but Ghostbusters is just it's a seriously it's a big hitter that people don't expect to be such a big hitter when they think of 80s comedies. I think people think of a lot of other things, but then when Ghostbusters is said to them and it's put up against anything, they're like, oh, actually now hang on.
A lot of people would forget that Ghostbusters 1 was the 80s.
Exactly, yeah.
But I think
a lot of people think it's 90s.
Even if you said 90s comedies, I don't think a lot of people would think of Ghostbusters until it's said to them. And then it against anything, they'd be kind of like, oh, actually, maybe Ghostbusters would be better than
that's the same that happened with the 80s action one. When we did that there at the start, Die Hard ended up winning, and that just snuck in at the end.
Yeah.
In 89.
If I'm not mistaken, wasn't Ghostbusters 2 1989?
Even if it was, it wouldn't have been on this list.
No, it's definitely not as funny as Ghostbusters 1.
No, far from it. I'm just trying to think because a lot of people wouldn't think the two Ghostbusters films were in the 80s.
Yeah, it was 89. Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, that was a bit luck there.
So we're into our semi-finals. Here. Matt, we'll start off with yourself here. We have Beverly Hills Cop versus The Goonies.
Goonies.
Man, I didn't even have to think about that.
I know, that was a quick one. What about yourself, Greg?
I went Goonies because it was more or less of which one am I going to get shot over quick.
Well,
what about yourself, Greg? Which way are you going?
You've got the Truffle Shuffle versus the Banana in the Tailpipe.
Yeah.
You've got Axel Foley against Data, because Data is the best in the whole thing. Let's be fair. The most stereotypical Asian character you'll ever see in your life.
It's true.
that's an interesting one, Greg, because that's kind of swaying me now the way you've made that comparison a little bit. Good one.
Yeah. Data is my favorite in it. He doesn't do much or to a lot in it, but like his little contraption on his belt and all is
But
brilliant.
It's almost like he's a Batman.
Yeah, but does he stand up to Axel Foley?
That's it.
No, he doesn't stand up to Judge Reinhardt either. No, it's got to be Beverly Hills Cop for me.
Beverly Hills Cop, 1 vote. Ted.
I think Goonies had a nice old run here as well, but I think Beverly Hill Cop is the correct choice here, really, isn't it?
Yeah, that's where my vote is going there as well. Beverly Hills Cop gets my vote. As much as I love the Goonies, Beverly Hills Cop is hilarious. Just constant laughs from the start. Which way would you be going there now?
I was thinking Goonies, and then when Greg said to me Data versus Axel Foley, I said, yeah, you're right, Beverly Hills Cop. Without a doubt.
For me, I voted Goonies for my own health and safety, because I think if I voted against it, I'd be shot.
Well, I'm in the same boat here now, but I'm just hoping maybe, I don't know, maybe I get a pass.
You're hoping decisions taken out of your hands.
It was out of your hands.
The decision was out of your hands anyway, Niall. You know, it was already 3-1, so you just jumped on the winning bandwagon. You know.
Perfect. So we'll go to the last semi-finals. We have Greg. You'll start off with The Meaning of Life versus Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters.
Nice quick vote for you there. Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
What about yourself, Ted?
Have we found the thing that everyone's going to hang their hat on in Ghostbusters? I think
Yes.
I have. I'm going to go with Ghostbusters, even though maybe that's not the most technically correct choice, but I think I've backed my horse, and it's Ghostbusters.
My horse went out in the first round. God damn it, Roxanne.
Mine went out in the second round. So. Yeah, I'm going Beverly Hills Cop.
What?
Oh, yeah.
Oh no, sorry. I'm thinking ahead. Sorry, I'm going Ghostbusters. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself there.
We know what Carl's voting in the next round.
I'm going Ghostbusters to go through to the finals. So that is a gone through there. The two lads, Niall and Matt, would you have voted the same way?
Yeah, Ghostbusters.
I'll give it to. I'm not gonna be mean. I'll give it 1 vote, not to be mean, even though I would vote Ghostbusters if it's a serious vote.
Fair enough. So we have our finals.
Here we go.
We have our finals. Probably, if you'd told me at the start that these two would be in the finals, as usually happens here, I wouldn't have picked these two to be in the finals whatsoever. But
You might have got away with Ghostbusters.
Ted, Beverly Hills Cop versus Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters.
Who wins?
Ghostbusters.
You're picking Ghostbusters for the win.
Yeah, I've picked my horse and put the house on it. Ghostbusters.
I
6-1 you did.
I won't be joining you in that. I'm going Beverly Hills Cop.
9-4.
Oh,
What about yourself, Niall?
Ghostbusters. Put the boot in, Niall.
Yeah, I got my Ghostbusters.
Oh.
Unfortunately,
Don't you do it, Matt. Don't you do it. Don't you do it.
I'm doing what you did, Greg. Greg, I'm doing what you did. I'm taking Axel Foley versus Peter Venkman, and I'm going with Peter Venkman.
Anyone versus
He
Bill
has a
Murray.
plasma gun. Don't you do it, Matt. Don't you do it. Don't
it,
you
Matt.
be a son
Do
of a
it,
bitch.
Matt. Do it, Matt.
Really sorry, but Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters is the winner. What about Greg? Which way would you have gone?
It would have been going to Ghostbusters.
Would have been going to Ghostbusters. So we've made it to the end there. Probably a surprising one if you looked at the list. It was ranked number 23 on the list at the start. Ghostbusters is the
Way
Sherlock
too low, that
Reels.
is.
the Sherlock
8-1
Reels
8-1.
80s comedy winner. So we're just going to go around the board here. You can plug anything you have coming up. And what about yours? You can start off with yourself there, Ted.
Yeah, so Ted from Retrotainment and Retrotainment Recast on the Dynamo Podcast Network. We'll have another show going up for our Action August tomorrow at 2:00 Irish time, obviously, not any of your other weird times like America and your dodgy lists. Your dodgy lists of putting Ghostbusters 23rd. Good luck to you. But yeah, 2:00 tomorrow will be our action film, and then next Thursday we'll have the latest episode of Retrotainment Recast, which is Ferris Bueller's Day Off, which got knocked out by Ghostbusters.
Yes, it
Ferris
did indeed.
Bueller,
It did
you're
indeed.
my hero.
So it got knocked out by the winner. So it's done well.
You got out by the winner. Out by the winner. You know. What about yourself, Greg?
Pretty much the same as Ted, Retrotainment Recast, but the new one that I'm a part of, On the Slab Horror Show, actually released Ghostbusters this evening, ironically. If you want to check that out,
plugging. That's 2 weeks, 2 times in a row now. 2 times in a row now. I see what you're doing.
over there on the Old Dynamo Podcast Network, where I'm sure you'll find a whole host of Niall as well.
90% Niall Hogan.
Speaking of Niall, what do you have coming up?
Today we released SummerSlam preview, and I think I also released what I do, Beat the Bookie, and a couple of other shows. Tomorrow I'll be putting up the transfer show, the weekly transfer show that we do. I'll also be putting up. We got the guys on for the 4 Podmen, and we picked our top 10 SummerSlam matches, which had interesting debate on it and stuff like that as well. So that should be an interesting one. What else have I got going up tomorrow? We'll be doing a match reaction to the Liverpool Burnley game, and probably one or two other things. No doubt will come up. By multiple podcasts now every day at this stage. It's a very busy weekend when there's pay-per-views. We're going to be doing, as part of Dynamo's Dozen as well, we're going to be doing a review of AEW.
Rampage.
It's called Rampage tonight, isn't it? Yeah. So we can do that.
Apparently, CM Punk to appear in that tonight.
That is one of the.
I just saw
Spoiler alert.
at SummerSlam tomorrow will be brilliant.
That'd be amazing.
That'd be classic.
Nah, they've made too
Classic
much
Punk.
references to the fact that it's definitely him. They've made way too many references of like it's definitely going to be Punk. That there's no way it can be Punk now.
Personally,
He done it himself.
If he doesn't turn up, there's going to be fucking riots at that place.
Now,
It's in Chicago, lad.
what it's going to be is, if he turns up, the place is going to be on fire. If he doesn't turn up, the place is actually going to be on fire.
Exactly.
No,
Exactly.
Did you hear his MMA one where he was commentating on one of the smaller MMA broadcasts?
Yeah.
And where he was looking at him and he was like, your man was on top ground and pound. He was like, that's top ground and pound. He's like, you could say it's all elite ground and pound.
Yeah, I saw that.
He
knows what he's doing.
He's
smart,
trolling
you know.
everybody.
Perfect. And finally, Matt, what do you have coming up?
Right, where do we begin?
He's on AEW Rampage tonight.
Now, for myself, I've got a vlog tomorrow on for the Burning Truth website. We've also got 2 prediction posts, one for SummerSlam and one for NXT Takeover 36. Potentially going out, getting that ready out either most likely tomorrow. Got a episode of the Burning Truth actually going to be out on Sunday, officially, which will be most likely broadcast live, which you can find out on the website and everything, either website, YouTube. Just check on social media. There's all the links on there as well, and just doing the general rounds and everything on the daily posts for the Burning Truth as well.
Perfect. As you know, you can catch me here on the Sherlock Reel and also on Retrotainment Recast with the lads. Loads of episodes coming up, lots of fun ones there. So until next time, catch us there, catch us then, and we'll be doing another tournament like this on a different topic. Cheers.
Look.
Son.